In this Tech Talk, we're going to take a look at how you can get started with voice calling using Azure Communication Services. So if you haven't watched my previous video on what is Azure Communication Services, I'll give you the nutshell version. It allows you to add voice, video, chat, SMS, and other telephony features into your applications. These could be web apps, desktop apps, mobile apps, things like that. So what I'm going to do in this video is walk you through a quick start to get you started with voice calling. And I have a project that'll speed it up for you if you want to play with this, but I'm going to walk through that project and we'll get it going. So let's jump on in. So the first thing I'm going to do is jump over to the QuickStart docs, and there's one for add voice calling to your app. Now, if we scroll on down to the prereqs, you'll see that we need an Azure account, of course. We need Node.js, and we need an ACS resource to be created using either the Azure portal or the CLI. I'm going to show you how to do it in the portal. And then from there, I'm going to show you how we can get a token that we can use. So the first thing is we'd have to run off to the Azure portal, log in, and then create a resource. Now from here, we could search for communication, and there's communication services right there. And we could create a resource. Now, this is super straightforward. You can pick a resource group that you'd like. You can pick the resource name, and then you can pick your data location. At the time of recording this, it's only United States, but I suspect that will change. And that's all you'd have to do. You review it and create it. Now, I've already created one, so I'm going to go on back and go to this demo one. And you're going to notice right on the info page or the overview, you're going to see view and generate access keys. And then also you can click on keys here to the left. Now, if you go there, you'll be able to get information about a connection string. And you would need, of course, to copy that into your clipboard because you're going to need that in just a moment. Now, the connection string can then be plugged into the app that we're going to be running, the code. And the next part of this app then is going to have you, first off, create a folder for your project, add some npm install type packages, and then some other setup with Webpack. Now, I have a GitHub repo that does this for you. So if you want to do this really quickly, you could go through the README that I have here in the repo. You'll see the link for that here. And all we really need to do then is add an env file. And in our env file, we can copy our connection string that you would have seen over in the portal. So that's kind of step one, is add that file and then add the connection string. Now, the rest of the code I'm going to show you, they're going to walk you through this. So one of the things you're going to do after you get your packages installed is you're going to have to add some really basic HTML. And let me go ahead and open that. And you're going to see that we have an input called the callee ID input. We're going to use that to actually call a bot. It's going to be a voice call. And then we have a way to start a call, and we have a way to hang up on the call. And that's pretty much all we have at this point. Very, very basic. The next part is you have a client.js that's going to be loaded once we bundle. And the client.js is going to have a token that we have to put in. You'll see this token here. It goes on for quite a while. So in the README, or if you go through the quick start here, you'll have to update that particular authentication call with your user access token. Now, to do that, they link off to a document. And you can click here if you want to get that, but I went ahead and included the issue access token script in this repository. So if you want to play with it really quickly, you can. You'll notice it's going to read the connection string from the env file. And then from there, what it's going to do is once we have that connection string, we can go ahead and we can create an identity client to hook up to ACS. So we're going to create this communication identity client and give it that connection string. Now, if we go up top, you'll see that comes from some of the packages we installed. Communication identity in this case. Now, once we've done that, we're going to create a user, and this would be us, you could say in this case. And this user wants to have a voice call. So once we've used the identity client to create a user, we can then issue a token for that user, and we're going to give it a specific scope, voice over IP in this case. And then we get this token response, and we're going to write that out. Now, that is something for this really simple app, you're going to manually copy and paste. And so what you're going to do is you're going to grab that token, go back to client.js, and you're going to paste it right here that you see. All right, and that's really all you have to do. Now, this is a one-time token as a heads up. It deletes it and makes it so it'll work once, but then after that it won't. So if you want to hit refresh on the demo app I'm going to run in just a moment, you would need to reissue the token. Now, the way we do that is we simply come in, we type node, and then issue, and I'll just hit tab here. But it's issue access token.js, and when I hit enter, this is now going to use my connection string to go get this token. And so basically, I would just copy that into this Azure Communication Token credential in client.js. Now, keep in mind, this is super contrived, obviously. In a real app, you are not going to do that. But this is a really simple getting started example based on the QuickStart. Now, once we've done that, the next part of the app then is we've seen the HTML, we've seen the token generator, and now we want to make the call. And that's actually pretty easy. Once we have the token, we could create this thing called a call agent. And a call agent can then be used to, well, you guessed it, make a call. And in this case, it's going to be a voice call. But notice when we click the button for the call, that's going to say, all right, call agent, let's start a call. To who? Well, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to use a bot. And so the bot will kind of answer and then have you say something, it'll record it and then play it back to you. Very basic. But in the real world, this is a one-to-one app, but if you knew the communication user ID, which you'd have to get programmatically, then you could use that and communicate with a real person, actually. So you could talk, back and forth over voice over IP. Now, once we do that, we also need to be able to hang up. And so to hang up, very simple. We take our call that was created earlier and we say hang up, and then notice for everyone, true. And that's it. That's really all we need to do to get started. So I've already pasted a token in, but it's not really a valid token here because it's old. So I need to run that script again. So let me go ahead and get a fresh token. And I'm going to go ahead and copy it into here. So let me just erase all this. We'll paste it in. All right, and we're kind of ready to go now. Now in the next part, they'll have you start up Webpack. I kind of simplified that. You're going to see here, if we go back into our files, and if we go into the README, really all you have to do is run npx webpack dev server to start the app up. So once you have that token ready, you're kind of good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab that. We'll paste it in and run it, and that'll launch our server. Now, I already have the server running over here, so once this builds our bundles, we should be able to hit it. We'll give it a second. All right, and there we go. So we're good to go there. So let's come on back. We'll refresh. And it's going to say, who would you like to call? Now, you're not going to know an ID, so we have a suggestion, which is a bot. And you can do this 8 echo 1 2 3 here. So I'm going to go ahead and type 8 echo 1 2 3 and start the call. Now, assuming I have the access token correct and everything's good, we should actually get some feedback here.
To test your call quality, record a short message after the beep. Then the message will be played back to you.
All right, so now I'm going to record my message, and they're recording right now, of course, the bot is. So, all right, so now I'm going to record my message, and they're recording right now, of course.
If you're able to hear your own voice, then your audio configuration is correct.
Okay, so that's all good. We're going to hang up.
But not.
And there we go. We just hung up on everyone. So that's an example of how you can get started. And what I love about this is, once you get past the access token part, and that's something normally you're going to put in an API on your backend. Could be, .NET, could be Node, could be anything really that can call into ACS. Once you have that access token, you are good to go. Now, this is one of the most basic examples, but obviously we could add in video, we can add in chat, you can even do SMS and some other telephony type things. If you want to know when these types of videos come on out, follow me on Twitter @DanWallin, and I'll be publishing more in the near future.